Right, so the first item on the agenda is apologies, and I'm pleased to report that we've got no apologies for this meeting. I think I'm correct in saying that. Right, so next item is item 2, declarations of interest. And can I ask if any member present has got any declarations of interest that they need to declare in relation to any item on the agenda? No. Okay, in that case we move on to item 3, which is the minutes of the last meeting, which was held on the 7th of September last year. So these minutes are submitted for approval. Can they be approved, or has anybody got any amendments to the minutes, please?
Agreed.
They can be approved. Thank you very much. Next item, item 4, the Amazon Digital Marketplace, Director of Finance and Procurement, Mike Ray. Okay, Mike?
Thanks, Chair.
Thank you.
The purpose of the report is to inform members that the Yorkshire Purchasing Organisation has concluded a framework agreement with Amazon Business for the digital marketplace, of which Merseyside Fire and Rescue Authority is an associate member. Owing to the potential value of this contract during its term being greater than £300,000, this report seeks member approval to award the contract to Amazon Business. Recommendation is that members approve the award of a call-off contract with Amazon Business until the 23rd of January 2027. Amazon's digital marketplace provides UK businesses, small and large, with the opportunity to access public sector ad hoc expenditure. The framework agreement is designed to support public sector customers that have a requirement for procuring day-to-day products that fall below procurement tendering thresholds and require transparent and controllable expenditure. Amazon's digital procurement solution will provide greater visibility of ad hoc transactions, as well as the opportunity to manage spending with local providers. The authority currently purchases goods with Amazon Marketplace on a much smaller scale than the new call-off contract proposes. This new framework could transform the way the authority purchases small value goods and services. The benefits of using the framework agreement can be found in paragraph 7 on the report on page 10. A compliant method of managing tail spend, authorisation levels to reduce maverick spending, analytics to make informed decisions on future spend, user-configured product restrictions, wide range of products, and fast delivery. Tail spend refers to high volume, small purchases with many different vendors. Tail spend by the authority is the order of £300,000 annually for goods and services and works as provided by some 400 or so suppliers. The marketplace will target low value, low risk goods, and so has potential to deliver price savings on existing expenditure, as well as efficiency savings due to improved supplier management. Efficient management of tail spend offers the potential for significant cost savings and improved procurement efficiency. Staff time within the enabling department will also be saved by having fewer new supplier forms, fewer credit card applications, and fewer terms and conditions to review. The recommendation is that members approve the award of the call-off contract with Amazon Business until the 23rd of January 2027. Happy to take any questions.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Thanks very much. Can I just ask one question? What exactly is tail spend?
Tail spend, so it's small value, so it's literally what you value less than about £50, and there's some of our officers will go out and look for a supplier for that. That could be a new supplier, and then that could go on a new supplier form, do all the due diligence around that supplier, just to purchase something over £50. So we put a number of suppliers going through Amazon Business. All suppliers that exist on the Amazon Marketplace. It's just that we've already done all the due diligence.
Reviewed before 2027.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
My question's on the same lines, really. Just why 2027? Is it the reason why it's...
That's literally what the framework. So when you go out on the framework, they agree a contract period. And that's just the contract period that's available on the framework. So that's the end date of that existing contract.
I understand that they do agree in framework. Not just on why, then it's the reason why it's within 4 years.
Literally, that's the date that's currently available on the actual framework to date.
Okay, I can answer that. I think we've already, it doesn't stop us not doing that at any particular point in time. So as an particular framework, that's been our gift to move away from it So
If we're not happy,
yeah, we just stop using the framework, just stop using that, that's all.
So yeah, it's a call on contract, apologies, so literally, we're not agreeing to actually spend the £200,000, but seeing potential to go up to £300,000.
Okay, thanks,
Thank
Jeff.
you, Chair. Yes, I was just going to pitch in that Taylor agrees for 4 years.
4 years.
So we've got opportunity to have a balanced framework, which is a 3-year period, and the support agreement will go out in time.
Okay, thanks very much. Yeah,
Thanks,
Councillor
Chair.
Allen.
It sounds like we're not really tied into this massively anyway, we can make decisions based on what we are buying, but I'm just conscious that after the shipping spend, there is a chance that maybe local suppliers that might have got work over the years might be overlooked for certain things. Is that
The actual application does allow you to actually concentrate spend, as in public talking, it's within like a 50-mile area.
Yeah.
If that is something that the authority would want us to consider, then certainly we can factor that into some of our procurement plans.
Yeah, okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
fantastic,
okay,
thank you.
thanks very much. Any more questions or comments? No? In that case, can we agree the recommendation as set out on page 9 of the agenda, please? Okay, thank you. Thanks, Mike. Right, move on to item 5, and the chief fire officer report, and then station manager Mark Stock will take us through the report.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Chair. Look, the purpose of the report is to inform members of the outcomes of fire rescue service activity over the bonfire period. And the recommendation is that members note the content of the report and the details within the presentation, and importantly, the impact that Merseyside Fire and Rescue Services had on communities over the bonfire period particularly. As the Chair has alluded, we've got a presentation which accompanies the report itself and the detail around the performance. Green Manager Mark Shop will take us through the presentation, we're accompanied by Suzanne Hazard. Suzanne Hazard led Merseyside Fire and Rescue Services response to the bonfire period on behalf of the service. So if you've got any difficult questions, it's Suzanne who will be able to answer them, not Mark. That's for sure. But Mark, Suzanne, if you want to take us through the presentation, that would be well received.
Afternoon, members. I just wanted to reiterate what the chief said. Any tough questions, please send them through that. So I came as a role as the community safety manager at the start of this year, and it gives me pleasure to report back on what I think was a really successful bonfire campaign period. Okay, we can see there, if we look back from 2019 up to 2023, apart from a little blip in 2020, we've been on a downward curve on incidents, which is testament to the work that we're doing out in the communities, educated, getting in there with the communities, actually reducing the antisocial behaviour and the deliberate fires as we run up to the bonfire period. And there's a lot of work, a lot of strategy that goes into that. And I would be stealing the thunder from certain if I was to stand there and try and explain everything. So I'll give you a couple of the broader headline parts of the report, and then Sue's very much going to tell you how the service interacted and was so successful last year. So we can move on to the next slide, please. As you see, I'll start on the top left-hand side. Just over 12,000 emergency, just over 1,200 emergency calls, 1,200 calls were handled by our fire control. 5.5% reduction in all deliberately set fires. And a really, really important one was our firework incidents were down by 31.3%. So we saw a massive reduction in our firework incidents. Almost 5% reduction in our bonfires. Yes, sorry.
Will that have any correlation to all of the illegal selling in Manchester getting removed, or a lot of it getting reduced? Because a lot of scousers end up getting the fake fireworks from Manchester, don't they?
Yeah, that might play some part into it. I'd like to think it's a dual approach really. So education in the community, we've been out there, we've been in the schools, educating the children for a number of years now. So the children go up, they see the dangers associated with the fireworks. Yes, there's always going to be the supply chain available. If the supply chain does have to pick up around that time, it's going to aid our staff. But I think largely it's the preventive work that's been done through campaigns as well. 76 licences were issued by us, and across the period of the bonfire, just over 53 tonne
of waste was removed using the 6 tipper trucks which were available to us. So hopefully you'll agree with me that that's really good news for us as an authority, and it just proves how proactive we've been in our communities. I think we learn year on year the areas, the hubs where it tends to happen, and we can get in there a little bit earlier each year, and we can have a bigger effect. So we are very much sort of data driven, and we're going to use the data from this year or from last year's campaign to better enable us to target our resources more effectively next year, or this year, sorry. Yeah.
Do you think if councils put on more supervised displays, there would be less incidents of ASB, in particular in illegal fires, bonfires?
That is something I'll come on to a little bit later on in the presentation. We'll talk about the 2 larger scale bonfires that we have over on the Wirral, and some of the knock-on effects that we actually witnessed as part of that, but I'll come on to that a little bit later on if it may.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, if we can move on, please. So the activities to support the success of the bonfire plan for 2023, as I said to you before, I'll be stealing the success from Sue and her team, who has to stand there and try and tell you exactly how effective they were. So I'd like to bring you in at this moment in time just to explain to the members of the work that we did as an authority.
So bonfire doesn't start 2 weeks before bonfire, it starts around about now. We start looking at what resources we have and we start planning for the bonfire period. So to the run up to bonfire, we organise with our councils the use of tipper trucks, where we will staff it, man it, and go out and remove any waste that we see that could potentially end up on top of a bonfire. So this year we had 6 tipper trucks that was funded by the councils. The rota for, as you can imagine, 6 trucks is quite a lot of people, so there needed to be a rota running for each of the trucks. There was 2 trucks in Liverpool and 1 in every other district. It was staffed by our staff, so a volunteer request went out. If anyone wanted to volunteer, they could go on the tipper truck, but also explain to them that potentially it is quite a gritty job. The arson advocates, which is my team, and the street intervention teams, they are my teams. On the run up to bonfire and over the 2 weeks of bonfire, they will do what we call as high vis, and that's making the fire service seen out and about, engaging with our communities. You can imagine the calls that we get that a bonfire is being built, or the fences have gone missing. The car's present, the people are there, the uniform's there, so it gives the community the chance to highlight any issues, and also feet on the ground gives us the intel that we need to know about any occurring issues or anything that we don't know about, or illegal bonfires. We engaged this year with LFC Kicks. They wanted us to go in and speak to the kids. It's really important for us to go into schools and into different after-school clubs to engage with the children. They're the youth. They're the ones that we want to be getting in, explaining to them the dangers of building bonfires and what can happen. It's consequence. I think we've got a generation of people that don't understand consequence and what if you do this, this will do this, and the knock-on effect on not having a fire engine, what that could mean if there was a big issue to occur or a big fire. Fire champions as well. We went into schools and we were educating in schools. Part of the classes on the run up to bonfire was around illegal bonfires, around firework misuse, and the dangers of taking part in antisocial behaviour. Target hardening visits is what my team do on a daily basis, and over the bonfire period this extends to evenings. So where is needed, obviously we do evenings during the week as well, depending on people's lifestyles, but target hardening over the bonfire tends to increase a little bit. So we were offering services outside normal working hours, if you like. We put a presentation this year for schools. We had a junior and senior presentation to be able to target different age groups. So with the juniors, it was year 5 and 6, And then in seniors, it was 7, 8 and 9. Our operational crews did some of the presentation, PCSOs did some of the presentation, and my team and myself did some school presentations. It depends on the school, it depends on the area, and it depends on the school's need, because they know months and months in advance what the curriculum is going to be, so it's whether it fits in with them or not. But presentation was dead easy. Even if we didn't go and present it, we could send it over to the school and they could present. It was very easy to follow.
Can I just say, I have a nephew he's only 13, but he's in with the fire service. And what they do for bonfire night, which I thought was a fantastic idea. He had an officer with him, obviously, but he talked about it, what the consequences of doing the fire. And I think coming from that age, talking to another age, I think that would be more benefit than an adult saying it to them.
Yeah.
I just thought it might be a suggestion.
Of course, yeah, we'll take it on board. We're always looking for new ways. Social media is a big thing as well now, because kids now are constantly on the phone. So we're trying to move as quick as we can. And if that's the way that we work, absolutely we'll take it on
Jack
board.
said that they were asking all sorts of questions and it took longer than the time because they were that interested in it.
It's that internet interaction, and it's someone your own age that you can go,
That's
and
what I'm
this,
trying to
and this,
point
and
out.
this. Absolutely, take it on board. Yeah, of course, thank you. Okay, corporate comms and social media and bonfire safety leaflets. Obviously, on the run up, we have got loads of leaflets. We have different safety leaflets, messages that go into different councils. The information is all the same, it's just different depending on the councils. Corporate comms played a key part this year as well, with sending out social media messages around keeping your community safe. And I think the message this year started with us, do us a favour. So we're asking the community, as opposed to don't do this and don't do that. We're not preaching, we're asking. And I think that went really well.
I just want to say, amazing work on the £500 budget that you had, because I'm seeing those posts myself, so for it to get around on the £500 budget,
Thank you.
it's exceptional, really.
I'll pass that on to corporate comms, thank you. We also have, the crews do what's called critical risk management routes. So there are the areas around the station where we've highlighted there's been ongoing issues, so the crews carried them out over the bonfire period. There was a lot of work that goes into it, and that just really gives you a couple of ideas on what went on. Our 4 key nights were Mischief Night, Halloween, and the 4th and 5th. And on those 4 nights, we have a room set up in our control, and it's called OSR. And in it, it's to support fire control. So I was sat, myself and 2 of my colleagues were sat in the office, and it gives us that 2-way communication with control, making sure that any information the crews can't get out to, I could get one of the team to go out to. And to help us with that, we had Silver, is it Silver? Yeah. Silver upstairs, and it would be a station manager in Silver that we would be communicating with who sits obviously with the police. So anything that emerges, there's communication. What I'm trying to get to in a roundabout way is a lot of multi-agency talk going on, a lot of people engaging. So if the police have an issue going in an area, they tell the group manager, who then would ring me, who then I'd cascade it down. So it's like, be careful, don't go here, be careful, go there, or it seems like tensions are heading up here, can you go and see what it looks like? We also generally only have one IIT officer, which is incident investigation officer at any time, and over bonfire on the key nights we have 2, and that's just to make sure that there's enough people to cover any incidents.
Yeah, so fantastic work by Sue and her team, as you can see, to deal with it, and the preparation starts now for this year's campaign. But one thing that did come out of last year, the 2 incidents that the Chief alluded to before over on the Wirral, 2 large-scale bonfires. So we've classed this as sort of an emerging risk for us to look at. We can move on to the next slide, please. Ilchester Park and Woodchurch bonfires, both staged 5th of November. And both areas we use for large-scale community bonfires. We know this from previous years, they've always had bonfires there. Both areas have been associated with antisocial behaviour in the past, and the bonfires were put under construction up to a week before the 5th of November, so we knew these were taking place. How did we go about it? Okay, so we decided to engage with the people, or try to engage with the people who were going to do it. And I think for the want of better words, had we gone in sort of heavy-handed and said this isn't going to happen, we'd have caused tension, friction, could have led to antisocial behaviour in the area. So I think very much the thing for sort of last year was, let's work with the communities. Okay, let's make the events as safe as we possibly can, because if we try to go head-to-head with them, it's just going to end up, it could go downhill. So that's what we did. The organisers were known to the police, so we had a way in through our multi-agency approach here. There was numerous concerns raised by members of the public and by local councillors. The events were advertised on social media platforms, and there was food, drink, there was entertainment. These were sort of large-scale events for the communities that were put on. Okay. So Wilchester Park, what did we do? We went out, we did lots of community reassurance by our operational crews and our prevention teams. Okay, of course we're going to have members of the public unsure what's going on. If they're not aware that we are proactively working with these organisers to make this as safe as possible, then they are going to feel a bit vulnerable if they don't fully understand. So we engage with most people on these estates, just say, we've got an eye on things, rest assured we're working with people, we're going to make this as safe an event as possible. Our operational crews check for access and egress in the event of it turning into a real emergency, so we could get in there and we could do rapid intervention. We checked all the nearby fire hydrants, ensuring we've got plenty of water supplies around should it be needed. And we engaged with the builders to ensure that only appropriate material was used to build these fires. Okay, that stopped a lot of stuff, nasties that could have been put into their plastics, other carcinogenics, which just wouldn't have been nice. So by engaging, we tried to make these events as safe as we possibly could. We set up Silver Command, which was Jessup working, group manager and station manager working alongside the police, and our IIT and arson officers were deployed for the evenings and high visibility presence in both areas. And that's for offering community reassurance, and also gives us a eyes on the ground. So if it does look like anything is going to go wrong, we get a lot more early notification, so we can react so much earlier. Okay. That's just a video on, we won't play the video, it shows you the sort of scale that the Ilchester Park bonfire was at. It is a large bonfire, but we will work with these organisations this year. Okay, we move it on. The Woodchurch bonfire was slightly smaller, but it probably drew in a larger crowd of people, and there was all sorts going on there, ice cream vans, food stalls and all sorts. But once again, through our positive engagement, what I can say is there was no antisocial behaviour associated with either of these two fires. There was no injuries reported at either of these two fires. Yes, there were certain things that went on, which we will mop up, and we've got a multi-agency debrief with our other partners scheduled for the 29th of this month. And that's where all the learning from these two events will be looked at. We'll pull it apart and we'll see how we can move forward more successfully this year to have better community engagement, because I don't really think we're going to stop these from happening, but if we can control them and we can have a positive influence on them and keep the public safe, then I think that's a win-win for sort of both parts. Okay.
Can I just ask a very quick one?
Yeah.
It isn't my area, obviously. I'm not aware of those two events. Who actually pays for fireworks and things like that? Do you find this out as well? How it's been organised?
Yeah,
because fireworks, I mean, certainly know in areas that I've represented in the past, and we've had a big fireworks display. It costs a lot of money for a really, for 10 minutes of a display. I mean, it costs several £1,000. God knows how much it costs now. So how much do these events cost?
So I've regarded this both is
It's a really good question, Councillor Tweed, and some of the photos that Mark was showing you there give you some indication of how well organised these are, and it's almost that a whole community comes together. And we were aware, weren't we, Susan, of Facebook accounts that are just dedicated to these sites and, you know, people have donated to them. The organisation behind them was absolutely incredible, particularly the one at Woodchurch where Mark's absolutely right, you know, there's all kinds of burger vans, ice cream vans and everything there. So it's almost a real community push to make these types of events happen. But again, back to what Mark talked about there, we will have a multi-agency debrief, so the local resilience forum brings us together to discuss some of the matters that occurred last year, and we'll look at how this might work moving forward into next year without a shadow of a doubt.
Can I just say here, what you just asked the question on, they have one on the Freewood in Oakville Drive area, and that is people giving money, and I'm talking 30, 40, 50 pounds donated to it, and it's a big fire display. And then on the night they have buckets there that you, if you use changing. So it's the people that pay for it, community.
Yeah, as I said, we've captured that, and we've called it an emerging threat, but, you know, we possibly rephrase that, rehash it. If this is the way that people are going for bonfires, because I don't think, cost of living crisis, not everybody can afford fireworks, not everybody can afford to take the family out, but for a small donation, you can go to something like that. We've got to keep our eye on it, and if that's how the communities are evolving, then we've got to be in with the communities from a very, very early stage this year in order to work alongside them to keep these events as safe and as smooth and as enjoyable for people, really.
I mean, when I was in school, I used to sell Lucozade and stuff, but I know that in a few schools in Garston, particularly one secondary school, you had kids selling fireworks to each other, and the parents were in turn getting them from Manchester, you know, at low prices and selling them on. And we have some illegal bonfires in Garston. I think Garston's the worst in Liverpool. 69 incidents in Liverpool, but 43 of them were in Garston. And I suppose that's where my plea is really. The councils won't put on displays, so how are we going to be able to control the situation, because parents are just going to be doing it anyway for the kids?
Yeah, I think there's sort of a couple of things you touched on there. If fireworks are being traded in school, and our education piece of school is so much more important to teach the youth as they're coming through, because we can eliminate it from a young age, sort of primary school through our Beacons interventions and other bits and pieces, and that'll stay with them as they come up into secondary school. So we can be as proactive as we are, and we can increase our sort of education programs in the schools from an earlier setting this year to try and get right in there. And we can also try and identify and work with the schools to target the areas where they know that they've got the issue with maybe firework trade going on. So there's all sorts of things, and I'm sure this will come up in the multi-agency debrief that we'll have, and then from that we'll formulate our strategy going forward for this year. And as Sue sort of alluded to, the work for this year's strategy is already sort of starting to happen now, and from the end of this month when we have the multi-agency, that's where plans will start being put into place moving forward throughout the summer. So we've got plenty of time and early interventions with the key, I would suggest.
Yeah.
So can I just ask, I know there's other people wanting to come in at the moment, can I just ask that perhaps we let Mark and Suzanne conclude the presentation, and then we'll take questions and comments at the end of that. I think that might be the best.
We're at the end, if we click it again and go, I think it goes to no more questions. This just was the aftermath and summarising the work that we've got ahead of us for strategy and the strategising for this year. With what we've highlighted, practices from last year, we can learn a lot from it, and hopefully we can get a lot more involved this year. So I think yeah, there we go.
Okay, right, I think we need to thank Mark and Suzanne for the excellent presentation. We're now going open for any questions, comments. Yes, Councillor Maloney.
Just to go back to that last item, and I'm sorry I couldn't hear your questions because you like talking to one another.
Apologies.
Sorry. I don't know the area, and I live up in Haydock, and I'm near Manchester, but is there an organised event through the council in the Wirral? No.
No, I don't think anything happened last year through the council in the Wirral. There was no organised events.
Right. Do you have any other? No.
I don't think we should do this.
I disagree. I think it'll solve a lot of issues within Garston, particularly.
Yeah, we have one at Totally Wicked Stadium, and then I can see them from my garden at Haydock Park, racecourse.
they're gonna happen anyway, so they should
I was
be
just gonna say
happening.
that whether we do a bonfire display or not, which we have done for years in Liverpool, we still get the problem of anti-social doing small bonfires.
I mean, this year, we had like 17 properties had the fence panels stolen. We had over 40 bins stolen and burned. Garston's being horrific for them, it's really.
And normally, we do the skip events, don't we, before the 31st of October and before bonfire night, we would do skips right across from both communities, which the councils pay for.
I mean, we do mitigate a lot of the materials from getting put on the bonfires. We work with the housing associations, the police, but it still
I
seems
think
to.
the fire authority should come along to the skip events that we put on just before Halloween and for bonfire night, which would be a good thing to show the presence that
I think
we're all working together.
I think the fire authority wearing Garston, there's a lot of work in Garston.
So pick up the range of kind of comments there. So when we go through the bonfire period, we start to plan, as Suzanne said, way before the bonfire period, and she's quite right, we start planning now, and it's very much a multi-agency response. And that extends to a whole raft of preventative measures that we would see put in place. So when we talk about the tipper trucks is a mobile stick and a nice possible way of overcrowded hundreds of staff who go out and probation services who have been supportive of that approach. So we're going to an area and we will clear of any bonfire material that's identified by members of the public or the operational crews that are out and about and the prevention teams. And we will do that kind of proactively over a period of time, and that extends to us reaching into other partners like South Liverpool Housing and so on and so forth, where we will encourage them to proactively manage their areas through the provision of STIPs and so on. Now, for us all, and we kind of, with austerity and the cost of living, the challenges that people are facing, particularly the local authorities, they are left with organising events, and across Merseyside now we've got St Helens who still run an organised event, other districts across Merseyside have chosen not to because of the costs associated with doing it. It's not just the provision of fireworks, it's much about the management at the location and so on and so forth. And that's a local authority kind of consideration in the kind of context of being a diversion activity. But as Suzanne said, diversion activities are even in those organised bonfire displays, they are one night rather than the 10 or so that were, or the 2 weeks that we cover that period. And so we know that we will see increasing numbers of fires, particularly bonfires over that period. What we're seeing more latterly, and probably post-COVID, and maybe has a factor there, you've got communities that are mobilising actually, funnily enough, in regards to doing things for each other and collectively. And we've seen that with a couple of the displays that have been identified here on the Wirral. With that Mark said, which is actually really, really important, is that we are overseeing those events in that respect, that they are done so in a safe manner. And being assured that they are done safely with some kind of responsibility and accountability attached to them. That's a real focus for us, and that's a real focus for us through this next 12 months in this planning cycle. Because we don't want them to be ad hoc, poorly managed and cause injury, or actually, they contain carcinogens and extra stuff that's going to have an adverse impact on the communities that we are serving. So we understand that communities will mobilise around it. We need to ensure that they do that safely. And we need to work with our communities effectively and all of the partners in preventing it occurring in the first instance, but where there is a real appetite to run an event, that event be coordinated and done so in a safe and controlled manner. That will be a little bit of that kind of that insight that this period has brought it forth. It wasn't specific enough. This was a bit of a difference approach this year. Ordinarily, for previous years, there's been organised events. The organised events had ceased, and the community have stepped into that void, I would suggest. And that's part of that multi-agency debrief understanding whether it is something that the authority wants to step back into, or it's actually something that the authority and the service and the police and the colleagues want to assist and allow to continue with some controls and some arrangements in place and some safeguards in place around this management. And that's what will play out over the course of the next number of months, the actions and the approach that we will adopt under those circumstances. What I would say, and again, you know, to caveat the kind of the imagery and so on and so forth, you know, the ZAM has led a very successful bonfire period over the course of many years now. We've seen the number of incidents that we're responding to reduce. As it gets more and more difficult, funnily enough, and to see another 5.5% reduction across Merseyside is very positive. I equally extend that into the attacks on, you know, on fire crews. That's been reduced over that period, and the incidence of firework misuse, again, significantly down, 33%. Really proactive work, but we know that the bonfire period is different for Merseyside than it is for a number of other areas. We equally know that mischief night, which is something which is recognised in this area, if you go outside Merseyside and maybe beyond some of our very close boundaries, you don't even understand what mischief night is. Well, actually, mischief night is probably one of, that's any Merseyside is particularly one Merseyside fire and rescue services. Again, it's that proactive management of the risks around foreseeability. We know it comes, we know the areas where we can work proactively in those areas. The bit that I take from this conversation, particularly around the Garston area, is to be very proactive in those areas in forthcoming years, given you're quite right, the number of incidents that have occurred in that proximity.
I don't want to sound too negative, because there is a 25% reduction in incidences from last year.
Look, absolutely, but we're,
I just want to bring it up.
yeah. If you look at the important thing for me is, like, colleagues around the room know this, is how continuous improvement will get better and better and better. The only way we do that is to continue to focus in the areas where we can make significant improvements, work with communities and kind of proactively manage the incidents downwards. So we continue to improve year on year and take away that kind of the blight on community as much as
I think the disappointing thing for me was...
Sorry, can let Phil finish then? If anybody wants to speak, put your hand up. I'll call people in one by one. Okay,
yeah, look, that's fine, Chair. I'm probably conclude by just saying a very positive response. We've been grateful to Suzanne and her team for how proactively to manage that through that period. And there really is a sharp focus on that changing dynamic in relation to the bonfire period for us. And we will utilise this intelligence that we've received this year to inform our practice next year.
Okay. Right, thanks very much. Councillor Grace?
Yeah, I was just going to ask about the multi-agency approach to illicit sale of fireworks, how successful that is. Do you get intelligence?
That's something that we'll be discussing at the multi-agency. So we have our multi-agency debrief on the 29th of February, and that'll be on the agenda for discussion. I'd like the feedback post that meeting, be able to feedback into it.
Yeah, Councillor, just again, just to add to that, what we do is, you know, we work training standards. So as we will go and where we've provided licenses and or we've got intelligence that suggests that fireworks being sold illegally, people go and visit the premises or those locations. We will go into the premises around Merseyside where we've provided a license and a training stand. We would see 10 pages. So we've got young kids, 14, 15, who can walk into a shop and purchase some fireworks, then the license will be revoked at that particular point in time. So we do this, again, proactive work going on in that regard.
That's great to hear, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Councillor Maloney?
Yeah, thanks, Suzanne. When you're talking to the multi-agency people, you've started something, I think it was Knowsley, it was St Helens last year, the, what's it called, Borough of Culture. And last year I went to see laser lights and it was absolutely brilliant. Could we not encourage other people, instead of fireworks, to use the laser lights?
Absolutely, something that's becoming a bit of a better trend.
Well, I think it is.
It is.
Well turned out for people.
So we have a list of events that we know are happening. So that list is sent out to all our teams, and when they're out and about, we'll advise them to let people know, like Wicked. There was one planned in Aintree, I think it got cancelled last minute. So we do have a list of where events are, and if we've got these lists, we'd definitely be giving it out to the community and advising them, look, you know, this event is on fire. Definitely.
I mean, that's what Liverpool done, sorry, Chair, that's what Liverpool done last year, they didn't do the fireworks, they did the lights.
I think it's.
This is Burlington.
Okay, thanks very much. Councillor Thompson?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to say that the reduction in the derelict building fires is very encouraging. It's quite a large reduction, isn't it? I have raised issues about derelict buildings, and that is definitely a multi-agency thing, isn't it? Between owners, local authorities and the fire authority. I've got 3 derelict buildings in very close proximity in my ward. I'm sure many of the councillors have got similar issues. They're an absolute drain on resources, police, anti-social behaviour teams, yourselves. Thankfully, I'm losing one because it's going to be demolished next week. But unfortunately, we now have a 23-acre site, Pontins, which I hope I'm wrong, but I can see that being an enormous problem as we move forward through the year. We've already had incidents of people getting in. I have no faith in the current owners having much security in mind, and it's just a locked gate and somebody on the gate. So I would like to see, or I would like to help as a local authority councillor in my ward, be a bit more proactive in making your job easier by flagging it up now.
Thank you.
Keep an eye on it. Chief in at this point, please.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Thompson. But we are aware of that site, and we've been having extensive dialogue with the local authority in regards and others in regards to its management and safeguarding the site and the individuals that would make the way onto it as well. So you can rest assured that is on our agenda.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, Councillor Rose?
Yeah, coming back to the sales issue, how do you deal with it cross border? Like, do you have that approach with the police as well? And
Yes, yes, absolutely. So, you know, well, we will share information from service to service. So if we were having some problems from an emergency fire service point of view, we would share it with wherever it's from Manchester, Lancashire, Cheshire. But that extended part of our Bangor into a Merseyside, a regional approach. So if we could, we know there's movements of fireworks, we know there's sales of fireworks, we know there's fireworks which are getting moved from one county into another. We work with our police colleagues to ensure that is limited and the individuals that are perpetrators are brought to look around it.
I only mention that because the intel from the schools is that they're all going to Manchester to get them.
Yeah, and you know, history tells us that the routes change dependent on the current supply chain and so on and so forth. And I wouldn't be surprised if young people in Manchester were talking about picking fireworks from Liverpool and going the other way. So evidently we are very vigilant of that, and we, as a multi-agency team, we kind of bring in our intelligence and then look to respond to it. And certainly we've done exercises previously to try and limit the sales of illegal fireworks into our council.
Okay, yeah, Councillor Finnan?
What you just said, Phil, is I know when there was the fire service, the police youth group, and they had a couple of young ones with them, and then they sent the kids in to buy the fireworks. So they told around, I know they done it in Haywood, walking around the shops and seeing people selling fireworks. So they were the joint groups that were working together in, and it was a big response to it. You know, people commented how good it was, and people could see you actually doing something.
Okay, and you don't see the reductions that we've seen over the course of the last 10 years. We have been really proactive in regards to how we plan and how then we execute that plan. So, you know, again, thank to the team there in the contribution was made, and as I said, the multi-agency team, not just the fire relationship one, but particularly in light of this report. Thanks, my thanks, and I'm sure that on behalf of the Suzanne and the team for the work that they've done in reducing the number of incidents.
That complaint means that I'm banning the law.
Okay. Any more comments, questions? No, yeah, just one, thank you.
So, when you get feedback, what committee you can examine it?
We'll work with Ray, so the debrief will be at the end of, and then small development, so we'll work with Ray, with councillors, with some feedback.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, right, thanks very much. So can we agree the recommendation, it's on page 19 of the agenda? Agree, thank you very much. I think once again, I think we thank Mark and Suzanne for the report and the work you're doing. There's a lot of positive stuff there, and good luck over the next few months for this year. Okay, thank you very much. Right, now, the next two items on the agenda are exempt. So we have to now formally close the meeting, stop the stream, and ask any members of the public to please leave, but I don't think there are any. No, but if we were here, they'd have to leave.